I'm constantly hopped up on coffee, but the one thing that I've been missing is inspirational stories from other people hopped up on coffee. Have you ever read or heard of this book? For decades, but what feels like centuries, the Chicken Soup for the Soul books have been inspiring adults, teens, teens again, teens one more time, preteens, kids, sisters, but not brothers, dogs, and cats. This is ridiculous. How many of these are there? 276. Today, we're going to take a deeper look at the Chicken Soup for the Soul books and try to get to the bottom of who let this madness happen. So, let's get into it. The first Chicken Soup for the Soul book was published in 1993 and was swiftly followed by 5 additional books: a second helping, a third serving, a fourth course, a 5th portion, and a 6th cup. And let me tell you, if I am ever at a dinner party and I get served 6 cups of chicken soup, I'm 1, leaving that dinner party, and 2, never speaking to that host ever again. I've never actually read one of these books because I'm Black, and when we were kids and we told our parents that we had problems, we were either told to go outside and play or go to church and pray. Let's break that generational trauma. I never got a book full of inspirational stories or quotes, so I have zero experience with these. And if you do and they've worked for you, that's great. I am not here to knock that. We're just going to poke a little bit of fun today. So there's a ton of books here, but I want to start with a personal favorite, and that is Find Your Happiness, because nothing says happiness like a rabbit in a random field eating a carrot the size of its own body. And once you find your happiness, you can think positive and live happy with your beach-loving elephant friends who also like to drink. How is this elephant even holding a coconut though? And while we're here, we cannot forget about the power of positive. And I don't know if this penguin thinks that it's going to turn into an airplane or go to the airport, but both are wrong. There's a few in here for different professions. We've got the entrepreneurs, the network marketers, teachers, nurses, dentists, fishermen. I love the tagline for this. It reads, "Fish tails to hook your spirit and snag your funny bone." My dad used to take me fishing all the time when I was a kid, and it was boring as hell. I don't remember there being anything funny about it. There's a book for writers, a book for veterans, a book broadly about being at work, but we cannot forget about Chicken Soup for the working woman's soul. Then we've got some hobbies like traveling, nature lovers, scrapbookers, gardeners. The tagline for this one reads, "Stories to sow seeds of love, hope, and laughter." I find that the Chicken Soup books have taglines that fall into one of two camps. They're either really punny, like this one, or they're bland and generic and copied and pasted across like 40 different books. Then we've got books about food which follow a very different cover design style. There's books for the chocolate lovers, for tea lovers, for coffee lovers. I'm constantly hopped up on coffee, but the one thing that I've been missing is inspirational stories from other people hopped up on coffee. We've got a bunch of Christmas editions. There's 14 here, but absolutely 0 for Kwanzaa or Hanukkah. There is one for the Jewish soul. There's a Chicken Soup from the soul of Hawaii, and this was the only book that I was able to find that was related to a US state. And hey, I get it. Use it as an excuse to travel to a beautiful place for work, right? There's 6 books just about Canada, and I couldn't really figure out what the inspiration for this was, given that neither of the original writers are Canadian, but they are really nice people, and my favorite rapper is Canadian, so I get it. Speaking of music, we've got books like Chicken Soup for the Country Soul, which is not to be confused with Chicken Soup for the Soul Country Music. The tagline for this one is, "The inspirational stories behind 101 of your favorite country songs." Ooh, I wonder if they'll cover anything by Lil Nas X. Probably not. The next one related to this is the story behind the song, and this one really surprised me because it's got some bangin' artists on it. We've got Christina Aguilera and Boyz II Men and Mariah Carey, Kanye West, John Legend, Smokey Robinson. Like, this is a star-studded lineup. There's more books about dogs and cats, which really doesn't surprise me because they are the superior pet. One of my favorite from these is What I Learned from the Dog. This is my dog Franklin, and he hasn't taught me. By the way, that book won the Best Anthology Award in 2010 by the Dog Writers Association, so it's got that going for it. Hopping into our final category, there are books about people, and some of these make sense. There's parents and single parents and grandparents, new moms, empty nesters, adoptees, military wives. But then there are some that are just straight up weird, like dieters, hooked on hockey, shoppers, romantics, women golfers, prisoners, ocean lovers, sports fans, just us girls, brides, baseball fans, and NASCAR. Listen, you get the point. Today, we roasted just 100 books in the Chicken Soup Empire, and I call it an empire because this really spans far beyond just literature. Oh, you thought it couldn't get any more pervasive and capitalistic? As I was researching for this video, I found out that there are, or once were, magazines, calendars, apps, canned goods, yes, soup, greeting cards, dog food and cat food, a podcast, a radio network, educational materials for teachers, and as of 2016, an entertainment company that then went on to purchase aplus.com. That was a media agency started by Ashton Kutcher. That requires some pretty big bucks. And listen, you might be saying, what's wrong with a business making money? And my point isn't so much that we should be questioning a company's desire to be successful. Rather, we should be looking closely at whether a company truly means as well as they say they do. On their website, they describe themselves as a socially conscious company that publishes stories by people of all faiths, nationalities, ethnicities, sexual orientation, and gender identities. But I found it surprising how many books were actually for people who might identify as non-Christian or a member of the LGBTQIA+ community. 12% of the books in this collection are on the topic of faith, but they all have a pretty heavy Christianity bend. There's one book for the Jewish soul and one book for the Latter-day Saint soul, but none for the Muslim soul, the Hindu soul, the Buddhist soul. And when it comes to identities, about a third of the books here are related to Canada, as we saw earlier, and the others relate to being a woman or being Latino or being African American. But the identities that we claim go so far beyond that. All I'm saying is if you can make multiple books for horse lovers, you can make at least one book for same-sex parents or for trans folks or for queer kids. The Chicken Soup books have been published in more than 100 countries and translated into 43 different languages. If their mission is truly to change the world one story at a time, then they need to do a better job and actually reflect the world that we live in and tell the stories of everyone and not just a select few.